FIFA and Gianni Infantino confirmed who the hosts were on Gianni Infantino's Instagram. And FIFA's members were not allowed to vote in a competitive bidding process, repeating the controversy around the 2010 decision to give World Cups to Russia and Qatar without a Congress vote. And I think optimists will say things have changed. FIFA adopted a human rights policy in 2017. It's commissioned human rights impact assessments for the 2026 World Cup. It now commits to human rights and set human rights standards for future hosts who will have to provide risk assessments and a human rights strategy. So some will say FIFA's learned the lessons from Qatar. Moreover, Saudi Arabia's crown prince and de facto ruler Mohammed bin Salman has introduced significant economic, social, and cultural reforms. Women have increased mobility, the religious police's mandate has been restricted, reforms have been made to the country's labor system, entertainment has been liberalized, tourists are given insurances, and international companies are pouring in. So one could argue that sports could accelerate positive developments. And nothing would be better than to see sports, businesses, and investors contribute to human rights reform. And if this was the case, Amnesty would applaud their contribution. Yet we remain concerned. However, we have to point out that the bid book that displays the ambition Saudi Arabia has for the World Cup hasn't been published yet. We don't know what improvements they want to make to their infrastructure, nor have we seen risk assessments or any sort of human rights strategy. Nonetheless, there are numerous human rights risks that should be addressed by FIFA and its members. For example, how will the right to freedom of expression and assembly be guaranteed? What will happen if somebody protests or posts critical content about the World Cup? Keep in mind that Mohammed Al-Ghamdi is on death row for a few critical tweets posted to about a dozen followers. Will the media and international human rights observers be allowed to scrutinize and criticize Saudi Arabia's human rights record? And how will potentially affected groups be consulted in a country without freedom of expression? Second, how will the rights of migrant workers be protected? Saudi Arabia has an abusive version of the kafala system where migrant workers are discriminated by law and in practice. A recent report from Amnesty International that looked into the conditions of migrant workers at Amazon warehouses described a situation that could amount to human trafficking. And could the World Cup affect the right to housing? In the past, states have used mega sports events to forcibly evict people from their homes in order to build infrastructure. In Saudi Arabia, development projects in Jeddah have led to forced evictions without due process, without offering alternatives, and without adequate compensation. Resisting can be dangerous, something members of the Huaytat tribe have experienced as they were reportedly displaced to make way for Neom in the Tabuk region. And what sort of guarantees will be sought to secure equal rights for women? Despite having introduced significant reforms with regards to women's rights, women are still subject to male guardianship, which negatively impacts their life.